Today I am out in our 15 over west of the farm. Susan and I bought this field. It was a farm field then. Bought this field in the early 80s, like maybe 82 or so, something like that. And we were figuring on building a new home here. But things worked out differently. Her parents, we found a place her parents liked, so we didn't need to build a second home out here in the country. And we rented this out until I think around 89, and then we put it in the CRP, Conservation Reserve Program, and planted trees on it. And we planted, the first year we hired a guy to stick pecans in here. He planted pecans in here by hand on a 10 by 10 spacing. And the next year, and before that, I tilled it, I disked it up and worked it good, and sowed Timothy grass on it. Timothy doesn't compete with trees. So we put Timothy in here for a good cover, and we put pecans in here. The next year I was able to get oaks. I got white oaks and bur oaks, and maybe there's some swamp white. I think there's swamp whites in here too. And a bunch of ash. And what we did here, we planted every other row ash. And so we planted a row of oaks, planted a row of ash. And the way it's worked out has been good, because I'm thinning this now and all the ash is dead. So half the trees are out of here. And we've got a nice mix of pecan and oaks in here, and I'm doing an improvement cut right now, where I just have to look for an oak that's a good oak and make sure there's nothing hurting it. And like here, this oak right here, it's a bur oak. It had some black locusts around it. See, this black locust was up against it, took it down. Black locusts are volunteers. There was some black locust in a little patch on here that wasn't being farmed. It spread all over. Well, black locust gives you nitrogen in the soil, so I don't fight it too hard. And you see there's another little oak that got black locusts over it, and that one's next. It's almost dead, but I'm going to go ahead and knock it down. And anyway, you can see over there's a nice bur oak over there, another nice bur oak there. A nice spacing. It's not near as thick as the one we did at Belle Prairie. And I'm thinking, I spent 24 days in there burning 1 or 2 tanks a day getting that acreage done. This is I think 13 acres. There's 12 point something over there of timber that we planted. This one is 15 acre property, and it's 13 acres of trees we planted here. And anyway, I spent 24 days in there, and I'm thinking in here I'm going to be in here about 10, about half as much. And I came over here and burnt 1 tank yesterday, got over quite a bit of the ground, and I'm here with the 550 today burning another tank. And my biggest problem in here is with all that ash out of here, you've got herbaceous undergrowth. Like here we got a bunch of horseweeds. And walking back in here, I'm at the far back end. You got to walk a 1/4 mile to start work. Walking through this with all the tanglefoot hidden down in there is brutal. By the time I get back here, I've worked up a pretty good sweat. And the other thing is keeping your safety glasses clear. I get sweaty in here, and safety glasses get sweat all over them, and you can't see, and that's an issue. But those are problems you can work through. And I'm gonna fire back up and get back to work. I'm gonna knock down that little black locust there, and that one right there. Those go down quick and easy. I'm trying to dope these out so I don't have to wedge much. In the place at Belle Prairie that we just did, I had a lot of vertical trees, and when you get a vertical tree, you wedge it. Vertical trees want to stand there and balance on that hinge. And in here, I think I've got more trees where I've got a little weight to help me. And you can see, like right over there is a hackberry coming up under a dead ash over there, right in the center of the picture. That's an ash. Anyway, all the ash is dead, a lot of it's down. And we had the same effect over there at Belle Prairie on the west edge. We planted white pines for the benefit of wildlife, you know, to act as a windbreak, so migrating birds could shelter in there and wildlife could get a little bit of a windbreak. When we planted that, we planted red pine with it. We planted a row of white pine and then a row of red pine. And when we did that, I knew that the red pine would die. The red pine lives north of here. When you plant it as far south as we are, it's attacked by a longhorn beetle. When it reaches adulthood, it's hit by a longhorn beetle that girdles it in under the bark. And so there's just a few red pine that are surviving in there now. So the red pine dropped out, and that saved me a bunch of work. I didn't have to thin any white pines because the red pines had already done that thinning for me. And the ash in here is having the same effect. It's saving me a boatload of work. So anyway, it's all fun. And this week we're just going to be in the 80s for highs. We've got a nice breeze this morning, and it's just a wonderful day to be out here. I see one of the things, there's a forked bur oak right there. I'm going to put this away and grab the saw, and I'll knock that fork off of the left side of that tree. And that's pruning. That's a separate practice. But when I see one like that, it's got a nice straight stem, but a fork off to the left. I'm going to knock that off, and I've got a potential for another good tree there. Okay, catch you all later. Thank you for visiting.